If you're taking A-level maths and struggling to improve your grades or looking for some last-minute tips, then this video is for you. I'll be sharing tips to drastically improve your grades no matter if you have a year, a month, or a week to study. So keep watching to learn more. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Wesley and I'm a final year high school student and recent Cambridge Medic offer holder. I've recently finished self-studying the international A-levels for maths, biology, and chemistry, and receiving an A-star in each subject. Some people would suggest that maths is a subject for those with natural instincts, but I am a clear example that you don't have to be a genius to be good in A-level maths. After all, success is 99% hard work. But if you don't have much time, then you'll find tips in this video that will help you boost your grades in the A-levels. Tip number 1 is to know your calculator. If you don't already know my complicated relationship with calculators, then be sure to check out my previous video on self-studying tips. To keep things short, basically please check what topics you have to face inside your exams and make sure that your calculator has all the required functions, unlike mine. The next thing is to know when and how to use these functions. Most of them will have simultaneous equations, quadratic equations, etc. installed, so please know when to use them to save time, skip steps, and get more accurate answers. I practically wasted the potential of my CG50. I basically just used it to speed through all the graph drawing, but my friend mastered it and used graph functions to help check his answers, which really helped him boost his grades by eliminating careless mistakes. Tip 2 is not to rely on the formula sheet. When I first started working on past papers and discovered the formula sheet, it was love at first sight, since we didn't have that in my old curriculum. But then it turned out to be an illusion and a poor match. Slowly I became reliant on the sheet and had to flip through it every time to find the right formula. I realized that I was spending more and more time on the past papers and not necessarily getting better grades, which is when I realized that I was using up a lot of time by relying on the formula sheet. So if you're able, please memorize the formulas that you have to use, and if your brain glitches like mine, then the formula sheet will have your back. Just don't let your relationship with the formula sheet hold you back. Turn it into something positive instead. Tip 3 is to be clear with your steps. While I mentioned how inbuilt calculator programs and functions can help you save time and get more accurate answers, there are some steps where marks are actually given or dependent. Which is why by doing sufficient practice papers and paying attention to the points in the marking scheme, you should be able to tell which steps are worth the marks and which aren't. But if you don't have a lot of time to study the marking scheme, just please bear in mind that exam markers want to know that you have mathematical skills and don't just rely on calculators. So while you can use calculators to work out all the answers, just please give them back all the steps that are supposedly used to derive to your answer. Tip number 4 is to draw when you need to. Not everyone can visualize 3D objects or just 2D drawings, so it's perfectly fine to draw sketches to help you reach your answer in questions related to volume or geometry. It's better to use that bit of time than to get a completely wrong answer. And the same goes with vectors or mechanic diagrams. Only in this sense, mechanics diagrams are actually sometimes required within your answers. So you definitely want to practice drawing mechanics diagrams, and again, if you need to draw for 3D vectors or even just a triangle rule, that's perfectly fine as well. Basically, whenever you're feeling unsure about a question or you can't visualize what they're asking, draw and assess. Don't waste time thinking and then getting the wrong answer anyway. Tip 5 is to work harder and smarter. We've all heard it all. No pain, no gain. You reap what you sow. Success is 99% hard work. So put in the effort and you definitely see some sort of return. But how much of a return? Essentially, the effectiveness of your hard work will depend on if you work smart. While practicing with past papers and putting in the hours, you should be mentally or physically noting down the different question types, the steps that count, and the common numbers that keep appearing, instead of just blindly doing math and training your speed with a calculator. Another thing is to notice the tips within the question. Reading the full question to avoid careless mistakes is the basics, but then getting a full grasp of the tips inside the question is crucial. I'm working as a tutor at the moment, and I find a surprising amount of students who don't know when to use the things that they calculated in Part A and move them into Part B, which is really shocking because they've done so much practice and yet they're still starting from scratch on every Part B question, and not even noticing how the answer on Part A reappears. That's because they've turned into paper-doing zombies, and yet they need a tutor. So that makes you think how effective just blindly working hard has been. Well, those are my 5 tips for getting an A-star in math. If you want more general exam and studying tips, then be sure to check out my previous video. If you have any other ideas, thoughts, or questions, then pop in the comments down below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!